They used to tell me I was building a dream, and so I followed the mark. When there was earth to plow, a gun to bear, I was always there, right on the job. They used to tell me I was building a dream, with peace and glory ahead. Why should I be standing in line, just waiting for breath? Once I built a railroad, I made it run, made it race against time. Once I built a railroad, now it's done, brother, and you spare a dime. Once I built a tower up to the sun, brick and rivet and lime. Once I built a tower, now it's done, brother, and you spare a dime. Once in khaki suit, gee, we look swell, full of that Yankee doodly-dum. 500,000 boots went slogging through hell, and I was the kid with the drum. Say, don't you remember? They called me Al. It was Al all the time. Why don't you remember? I'm your pal. Say, buddy, can you spare a dime? Once in khaki suits, our Jimmy looked swell, full of that Yankee doodly-dum. 500,000 boots went slogging through hell, and I was the kid with a drum. Oh, say, don't you remember? They called me Al. It was Al all the time. Hey, don't you remember? I'm your pal. Buddy, can you spare a dime?
Land that I heard once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies on the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, birds fly over the rainbow. Oh, why can't Happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow. Why, oh, why can't
계속 그 오징어 게임에 대한 관심은 성장하면서 또 저에 대한 관심도 같이 이제 성장을 해 나가는 중인데 제가 글로벌 스타입니까, 여러분?
The last go. We'll see the first three go before. You're ready to go too. How about little fire scarecrow? You freaking brat! Look what you've done! I'm Mel! Melody! Oh, what a world! What a world! Oh, no girl like you could destroy my beautiful wickedness! No! I'm sorry!
She did. You killed her.
I didn't mean to kill her. Really, I didn't. It's just that he was on fire.
Hail to Dorothy! The wicked witch is dead! Hail! Hail to Dorothy! The wicked witch is dead!
The broom. May we have it?
Please, and take it with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Now we can go back to the wizard and tell him the wicked witch is dead.
Hi, I'm John Green. This is Crash Course U.S. History, and today we're going to discuss how World War II played out at home and also the meaning of the war. Mr. Green, so this is going to be like one of the boring philosophical ones then? Oh, me from the past. I remember when you were idealistic. I remember a time when all you cared about was the deep inner meaning of... So anyway, World War II brought about tremendous changes in the United States, in many ways shaping how Americans would come to see themselves and how they would want to be seen by the rest of the world. Some of these ideological changes were a continuation of the New Deal, others were direct results of the war. But one thing we can say is that by the end of the war, the country was very different. For starters, World War II strengthened the federal government of the United States. This always happens when a country goes to war, but World War II brought about even more governmental intervention and control than we had seen in World War I. It was like the New Deal on steroids, like federal agencies like the War Production Board, War Manpower Commission, and Office of Price Administration took unprecedented control of the economy. There was massive rationing of food and supplies. Entire industries were complete.
Okay, hi everyone. So today's a short class, and we have limited time, and we should probably go then to the exercise and the well, let's go to the debate. Let's do the debate, and then because I want to make sure we have enough time for the debate, and so let's do that. And so we see that the debate topic is let me see. Let me make sure I have that open. The lesson plan here, and so you can let me see here. So we have to go to here, share screen.
Remember teams as well, sir.
And so you can see you have pro Hyun Chung Sung and Ji Yoon Pak are pro on to South Koreans. The U.S. used atomic weapons against Japan primarily because of American racism, and then comment Jian Jiang and Jung Byun. So I'm not in a debate, so I can keep time. And when one minute is left, I'll send you a chat message, and let me. And then we will also share screen if we need to share screen. So let me set this to 6 minutes here and for pro. And so we know the rules, I think already. We've done this. I think we've done this before. So of course, if I need to share the screen, so pro, Hyun Chung Song and Ji Yoon Park will speak for 6 minutes, then Khan for up to 6 minutes maximum, and then pro rebut for up to 4 minutes maximum, and then Khan will rebut and conclude for 6 minutes maximum, and then 7 minutes maximum, sorry. And then pro has the last word for 3 minutes. But we're kind of flexible on that because you can also ask questions for extra credit of the debaters. And I will ask the debaters if they also need to, if they want to share screen. So let me go ahead and just allow multiple participants can share screen simultaneously. So I've already activated the share screen. So if pro needs to open up a PowerPoint presentation or something along the line, they can, and they can share the screen with the class. And so are you ready, pro?
Yeah, we don't have any visual aids.
Okay.
And sir, we have to take attendance as well, right?
Oh, thank you very much for reminding me. And so I would have forgotten. I'm a little bit nervous because, we're going back to this hybrid schedule now. And oh, I didn't take attendance on, oh my gosh, last week. Last class. Thank you for reminding me. I can check on the exercises, who was here though. I'll do that. So smart attendance for for this class is 804. And let me go back to chat and put 804 into the chat box. So that's your attendance number. And then we'll vote on who won the debate, and we'll vote to grade the debate as well. And that's anonymous. Both are anonymous on those votes. So I will turn over, if Khan, of course, has something to show, like audiovisual aids, like a PowerPoint presentation, they might want to get that set up and ready to go so that they can show that. I've already, like I said, I've already activated the share screen, so anybody can share screen. Okay, so I guess pro, you can start now.
Hello, class. Our team will be arguing that American racism was the primary reason for dropping nuclear weapons against Japan. Before getting into detail, I'd like to talk about the background prior to the bombings. Traditionally, the U.S. was strictly against being active on the stage. Even when the world was at war, America kept the world at arm's length. That is until the fateful attack on Pearl Harbor. Japanese informants gathered information and conspired to cripple the U.S. and evacuate. The Japanese, like the minorities living in the U.S., were not viewed in a positive light at the time. They were subhuman, simple workforce, or even parasites living off the U.S. After the attack, existing negative emotions erupted and became toxic. Distrust became fear, fear became anger, then anger into hatred. Much of the U.S. banded against treacherous Japanese, so much so that even their own civilians were targeted. Thousands of Americans of Japanese heritage were sent to internment camps, were attacked in Japan, and were harassed on a daily basis. These emotions got stronger and stronger as war raged on, as Americans got more and more familiar with their enemy. The Japanese were viewed as animals in their tenacity and brutality. Armed with the Bushido Code, Japanese knew no surrender and fought to their last breath. Many U.S. soldiers garnered frustration and anger from an enemy that does not know when to quit. The U.S. forces, on the other hand, know when to surrender. Surrender in Western culture is a viable strategy as a method of keeping of one's life. The Japanese did not see surrender the same way. Were prisoners of war treated with some semblance of dignity in the West, the Japanese viewed them as enemies of Japan and dishonorable cowards unworthy of living. They were thus treated accordingly. The most notable incident being the Bataan Death March, where tens of thousands of Poles were forced to march to their death. Stories of Japan's inhumane treatment of people got to America and added more fuel to the raging fire of hatred. War raged on, and soon the autumn bomb was completed. The U.S. had already firebombed the island nation profusely, but the autumn bomb had the capability of doing even more damage with less effort. The U.S. has an awesome weapon in its arsenal. Now the question is where to drop it. America had numerous candidates, all of which were populated with civilians. Civilians they viewed as beasts. To quote President Truman, the only language they seem to understand is the one we have been using to bombard them. When you have to deal with a beast, you have to treat him like a beast. But it was hugely unnecessary, as many high-ranking officials at the time did not see logic in using the weapon. Eisenhower and MacArthur believed that Japan was already all but defeated and that the nuclear bomb was excessive if not unnecessary. So why did America decide to nuke Japan? There are many reasons. It could be to end the war as quickly as possible with minimal casualties. It could be to display strength and determination to the Soviet Union, or it could even be a sick science experiment to see the effects of the new weapon. But our team would like to argue that it was mainly due to racial tensions. As stated earlier, negative emotions were rife in America. They were treacherous, they were inhumane, they were brutal. They did not seem to act like normal decent human beings. They were vile and violent and did not relent. Had America not viewed the Japanese as vermin, then they would not have nuked them as an exterminator would. Of course, justification exists, but one cannot deny that America's pure hatred of the Japanese at the time was a significant factor in its decision to brutally erase two major cities of Japan.
Yep, we're done. Sir, you're muted.
Thank you. 463 is the number. 463 is the number for smart attendance. Thank you for reminding me. I set up the smart attendance for the other class. So, all right. So, okay. So, yeah. And now we will go to the first Khan person and to speak. And so, again, Khan, I've already set up the share screen. So if Khan has a screen to share, they're welcome to do that. If they are Khan, if they want to. And so that's Jihye Zhang and Jungyu Pyun. So you can see that there. So let me ask them if they have something to share. Khan? If not, you can start speaking.
We don't have a visual thing.
Okay, go ahead. You can start.
So I will gonna speak first. when the America used atomic weapon, the Japanese situation was not good. In 1945, the United States fired a nuclear weapon in Japan, but that's not just a reason for racism. The United States tried to stop the war in many ways, and tried to stop Japan without firing nuclear weapons. However, Japan has consistently tried to increase its internal power for the war. And of course, it caused the biggest mistake in the history of the American war, because it is a coercive and violent way. However, this nuclear bomb ended World War, and other countries also eliminated their will to war. Is my statement.
Okay, anybody, by the way, have questions that they would like to ask for extra credit? And if not, then we will go to Pro to rebut for up to 4 minutes.
Yeah, so talk about what your side said. You said that it was
I can't hear you very well.
sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, is your microphone far away from you?
Well, let me get different earphones then.
You're wearing a mask. Why are you wearing a mask? Are you at the school somewhere?
What's up?
Why are you wearing a mask?
Because I'm outside and I don't want to
Okay.
get the virus.
I know you don't want to catch the virus. Are you at school? Okay, I thought everybody was at home or something, but maybe, yeah, I guess you're at home. You're somewhere in the university or whatever.
Yeah, something.
Okay,
like that.
so is your microphone working?
Yeah, can you hear me properly now?
A little bit better, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just do it like
Now
this.
it's better, yeah. I mean, you might want to hold it next to your mouth.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yes, so the con side said that there's possibly a more humane thing that they want that to end the war as quickly as possible, and that that Japan was very difficult in their negotiations, and America wanted to end the war quickly. But then I would like to say that let's think about it this way then. If that was a quick way to finish the war, I don't know, do they have to really resort to that? I mean, Japan was pretty much over. I mean, they were pretty much like on the brink of surrender. I mean, they had no more resources to fight, no nothing. And they were in the negotiating table. Why couldn't they, be more humane and, treat those people as decent human beings? They did not see them as human beings. They were nothing. They were, a pawn or a tool for their for their own political agenda. And no, I don't see that's the right thing, because they could have, treated them decently as human beings, or even, talk it through. But no, they resort to the utmost, disgusting levels of violence and vaporize two cities. If they seen them as, decent human beings, I don't think that would be a thing.
Well, yeah, microphone.
No.
It makes a difference when you do that. Yeah, it makes a
Oh,
big
really?
difference. Yeah. Mhm. Okay.
Did you have to do it again, or?
No.
Cool.
Okay, anybody else have questions? Okay, so Pro will now rebut for up to 4 minutes maximum. Oh, hold it. You said you are Pro. Khan will now rebut and conclude. So Khan now has up to 7 minutes to rebut and conclude.
The dropping of the atomic bombs is known to be the first and last case in which nuclear weapons were used, but we argue that the main reason for the dropping of atomic bombs is not the racism. It was to test a new weapon. The atomic bomb was made targeting Germany. However, after Germany's surrender, the United States was unable to test the power of the atomic bomb. If Germany had not surrendered by July 1955, it could have been dropped. This is because Germany surrendered 3 months before the US atomic bomb tests. The United States succeeded in developing brutal weapons in history and would have decided to drop atomic bombs to end the war as soon as possible, minimizing its economic damage while the war continued and the greed of Japanese leaders was growing. It can be inferred that the US has different types of atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, respectively. The United States did not attach much meaning to the dropping of atomic bombs. It did not stem from racial hatred, but was simply a means to end the war in a short period of time and global stability. In addition, it is argued that the atomic bombs used in the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombing were only a little more powerful than conventional bombing. It is questionable whether the weapons made targeting Germany could be dropped just because they were racial hatred. This is our statement. Thanks.
Okay, and Pro has the last word. Of course, if you have questions, please ask them.
Yes, so I'll go right away. So yeah, there's a lot of justifications for it, but our team personally feels that the key word in this whole thing is dehumanization. America saw the Japanese as beasts. They were vile. I mean, they didn't act like normal, decent human beings. They really dehumanized them and stereotyped them as like an evil empire. I mean, some of that stereotypes even lost today, as in like in pop culture. Like in the movie Star Wars, there's an evil empire and there's evil emperor, and then there's a evil general that has a samurai hat. I mean, that kind of stereotype still lost to this day. There was a lot of and saying that it was a sort of a source of scientific curiosity. I mean, that's also sort of dehumanization. I mean, they didn't see Japanese people as people. They just saw them as a statistic in a way. And that's the whole argument. It's all dehumanization. They just did not see Japanese people in the same way as they would as other people. Thank you.
Okay, if anybody has any questions, last chance to ask them. And if not, then we will go to the survey vote, and I will ask you to, you know what? I put it in the wrong gosh darn file. Oh gosh, just a second. I set up the vote. And so just a second. Well, I have to set it up again here because I put it in the wrong place. So let me do that now and go to vote and add who won the debate. And like that. And so, and go make it finish at 10 o'clock and like this. And that's what I did wrong. Yeah, post result, yes, anonymous, Crow, Con, and neutral or cannot decide. And okay. So save and go. So please vote. Okay, let me share the screen and go to share screen. So please vote on who won the debate. This is anonymous. And we'll just do that for 15 seconds. So still equally tied. Sort of. Con, pro, neutral cannot decide. Okay. And then, okay, so there are the results there. And then we'll make another vote and make that until 10 o'clock. Like that, and then post result, anonymous, and then general vote. So See, I set this up under the other class. So I have to do it again here. It's a second. C plus C, D plus D and F. Okay, so save. So let me again stop the share, screen share, and ask you to grade the debate. And then this is anonymous as well. So please grade the debate and do that now, please. Choose a grade. And we'll do that for 15 seconds. And I will then move on to the next element of the class, which is our exercises. So the debate was a nice introduction to that issue about racism. Of course, in some of my comments in that I sent back to you on your paragraphs, of course, one way to understand what happens in the midst of total war is that in the midst of total war, we see stereotyping emerge. Once people start being killed and dying in war, that you start seeing an intensification of stereotyping as well emerging within the society. And let me see if I got this available here in US history file. And I don't have it here in a file, but let me look it up here. So this is from the US foreign policy class. That's not what I want. That's not what I want. 1 second, please. Just to show you one way to look at what's going on in terms of what we see happening in the midst of war. That let me see. So share screen. So stop. We go here, and let me pull this up. So this is taken from a pamphlet on power that I use when I teach on international relations. So a country like Japan or United States or Soviet Union, they have a power potential base of that country, of Japan, South Korea, Russia, China. And in the middle of total war, when people are mobilized and really motivated by hatred and contempt and emotion, that in total war, like World War II, the focus is on eliminating the power potential base of your adversary. So that's the dehumanization aspect of it. There's no compromise, there's no politics. We just want to grind it down to nothing, to destroy it completely. And so, in terms of how I was responding to your paragraphs, I don't deny, of course, that dehumanization happens, but I don't think I would have underestimated the extent to which the Americans would have dehumanized the Germans if the war against Germany had not ended 3 months before the first test of the new weapon, the new atomic bomb. You can imagine, of course, just a hypothetical scenario. What if the Germans had thrown off the Americans and the Canadians and the British from their attempt to invade Normandy in northern France in July 1944? What if the Germans had succeeded in stopping them? And so the war was going to last another 6 months, let us say. Would the Americans have dropped an atomic bomb on Berlin to kill Hitler and all of his ruling clique? I don't really. I find it hard to doubt that the Americans would have dropped the bomb on Berlin if the war had continued. So, but yeah, this dehumanizing aspect that applies to people across the racial scale. I mean, the Americans, I remember during the Cold War, many intense Cold Warriors portraying the Soviet Union as this bloodthirsty, evil empire that they don't care about life. I mean, I remember reading materials in the mid-1980s by Colin Gray. He's still around. He's a British political scientist that arguing that the Soviet Union, if they thought they could fight and win a Cold War with losing only 50 million dead, but with that 50 million dead, they would completely destroy the United States and dominate and control the whole world and rule the world as the new communist Russian empire at the cost of, say, 50 million dead in a nuclear war. They would pay that price because they're communists. Communists don't care about life. I remember reading that in 1987 when I was in graduate school, my second year in graduate school by him. So, okay, let's go back now to talk about our exercise that we set up at the last class. And so let me open up those files. So, okay, so now we have to role play And let me go back to the breakout rooms. And again, I think it might be best if in terms of saving time, let you choose which rooms to go to on the basis of the files that I sent you, okay? So I sent you the files. So let me rename the files Jorge Bucoro. I think that was the name. Yes, that was room 1. So please, if you have that file, please join it. CUK Yamamoto is the second group. Third group is Latin American countries. And yes, let's join that one. This is the vegetable growers. Yes, and room 5 is the Americans for Truth. Okay, and I was calling that Make America Great Again in today's terminology. So please join those groups that you can join. And then, of course, also here is the Congressional Committee. So that person that that you selected from your group to join that committee, to be that assignee, please, that person should join that group. So please go ahead and join one of those 6 groups on the basis of the file that I sent you at the last class. So please join the groups on the basis of the files that I sent you. I mean, I have the picture of the files I assigned you, but this is faster. And were you able to choose somebody to join the Congressional Investigation Committee from your group? And one more person, Chongmin-ju, please join a group. So it looks like nobody really signed up to join or to choose those groups. So you know what? I'm going to just randomly assign somebody then from each group to join, except Chongmin-ju, since she won't. Oh, there she goes. All right. So heads is the top person on the group, and it's heads. So the top person on the group will join. Let me see. Anybody join? Okay. So I will assign this person to a congressional committee. Assign this person to a congressional committee, assign this person to congressional committee, and I will assign 2 people from this group to the congressional committee. Move to congressional committee, and this person will also move to the congressional committee. Okay, so that's the congressional committee. So please, I would like now, who's going to speak first before the congressional committee as to what they want to see happen regarding the, hold it, now what happened? I don't move from your group that you joined. I'll move you back to Americans for Truth. Okay, so all right, so then okay, so let's hear who's going to speak first before the congressional committee. So let me open up the file that I have here and to remind ourselves what the exercise is. And so let's share the screen. You all received this file that I'm showing you here already, so you can see. So when you make your 2-minute presentation, please tell us what you would like to see in terms of these 4 possibilities, 1 or more of them, and why we should approve it. And So let me make the time. Well, let me just go ahead and use my watch. So, okay, so who's going to speak first? And stop share. And so we go to breakout rooms, and heads, it's Jorge or Chuck. And heads is Jorge, and it's Chuck Yamamoto. So Kim Soo Hyun and Chang Ji Hye. Who's going to speak for Chuck Yamamoto? You want me to pick? Flip a coin? Okay. Kim Soo Hwan will speak for Chuck, or Chang Ji Hye will speak for Chuck. So heads, it's Kim Soo Hwan, and it's heads. So the person that will speak for Chuck Yamamoto is Kim Soo Hwan. So Kim Soo Hwan, please make your statement before the Congressional Committee regarding these four. What should be done to response to the crime that was committed against you as a Latin American Japanese by the United States during World War II? Kim Soo Hwan? Kim Soo Hwan. Oh, Kim Soo Hyun, sorry, Kim Soo Hyun. And what about Chang Ji Hye? Chang Ji Hye. Chang Ji Hye, are you going to speak? Chang Ji Hye. Chang Ji Hye. Well, evidently Chuck Yamamoto is too emotionally upset by these proceedings and is unwilling or unable to speak. So let's go to Jorge. Who will speak for Jorge Shumbukuro in terms of making a demand or recommendations regarding what should be done to compensate the Latin American Japanese that were kidnapped by the United States during World War II? So Shin-Hye Bom will speak for heads, and it is Shin-Hye Bom. Shin-Hye Bom, what should be done, Shin-Hye Bom? Make your plea to the U.S. Congressional Committee. Shin-Hye Bom. Oh, I forgot to close the group. Sorry. Okay, Kim Soo Hyun for Chuck Yamamoto. What do you request or require or demand from the U.S. Congress regarding these different four possible responses to the crimes against Latin American Japanese being kidnapped by the United States during World War II? Should they be given redress, reparations, 70 years since World War II? Should the U.S. government apologize? Should there be a public education campaign? And should you be given money?
I think they should give monetary reputations to me because we got a lot of discriminations against because I was Japanese, and in addition, I was discriminated against because I was Japanese Parisian, not an American. So I think for me, monetary reputation is for best to get a refund of their fault.
Yeah. What does your lawyer, what does your legal advisor have to say, the other person in your group?
she also agreed to my opinion.
Yeah,
And,
so,
yeah.
okay. So how much money do you want? You know, the Americans gave $20,000 in 1988, long time ago, right? Over 40 years, what is that? 33 years ago. The Americans gave $20,000 to each surviving person who was still alive from the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II, Americans who were interned. So do you want something similar to that?
Yeah, but I cannot estimate the value of the money. So, but I just want a house or my job to, yeah, that kind of value of money.
Would you like the U.S. government to apologize?
Yeah, also want to apologize, and I think money can be an apology for me, to me, yeah.
Okay, and let me go back to the rooms to see who's going to speak for Jorge. Jorge is Shinhei Bom. Shinhei Bom, you're Jorge Shimbukuro. What do you want the U.S. government to do? Shinhei Bom, what do you want the U.S. government to do for Jorge Shimbukuro? Shinhei Bom? Oh, Shinhei Bom says his microphone is not working. Okay, so I guess, what about the other person in the group? So the other person in the group is Ihyun. Ihyun, what do you want to be done for Jorge Shimbukuro, Ihyun?
I think the U.S. government should give money and apologize to Shimabukuro because maybe he don't know what happened to his wife and child after that happened, and there is nothing that can bring back everything he lost, and everything is changed in his life.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
okay. Okay. And what about let's see, who's next here? The Latin American country representatives. So Kim Tong-yoon, do you think that you should give back, or should you that you should apologize for what you did in cooperating with the United States?
Well, I don't think we should apologize.
Why? I mean, they were your citizens, and the Americans pressured you. Big, powerful, strong America. You were not willing to stand up for the rights of your Japanese your citizens of Japanese ancestry. Are you ashamed of yourself? Why won't you? Why won't you? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I thought it was during war, so we gotta pick the side to more powerful side on American side. So
okay, congressional committee. That's Kang Tong-un, Park Ji-un, and Chang Sung-hyun. Do you have any questions for the Latin American country representatives? If not, we will now go to the vegetable growers. The vegetable growers, and that's the group in the vegetable growers is Kim Hwan-sok. Kim Hwan-sok, should you be forced to give up the land that you took from the Latin American Japanese citizens of your country that your governments handed over to the Americans, and you took over their land and now making lots of money? Should you be forced to give up that land? Kim Won-sok.
Excuse me, sir. His microphone is not working.
Okay, what about Own tech.
Peruvian government sent the Japanese away and developed the remaining land legally, spending money and time. Or the government could make regulations without sending the Japanese out of Peru to prevent the Japanese from monopolizing the agriculture market.
Ooh, so, by the way, I mean, since long after the end of the war, there was a president who became president of Peru was Alberto Fujimori. Alberto became president and then made himself sort of like dictator in the 1990s in Peru to address some serious problems. And he's Japanese background. He actually went to Japan after he was threatened with arrest. So somebody could point to Alberto Fujimori. He still feels very pro-Japanese because he fled and ran away to Japan when he was being threatened with arrest for his actions while he was president. Of course, his actions were very harsh, but they were very effective. He did crush the guerrilla movement, the Sendero Luminoso, the Shining Path guerrilla movement. He got the economy moving again. Peru was an emerging market before the pandemic. And now and then he came back to Peru and now he's in jail. Alberto Fujimori is in jail. And he always, does telephone interviews from jail. And his wife and son, Keiko Fujimori, and I can't remember the name of his son, they're politicians in Peru. Keiko ran for president and just barely lost in the last presidential elections. But she's a powerful political figure. So Japanese, Peruvians of Japanese descent appear to be doing quite well in Peru, despite this terrible history of what happened to them in the Second World War period. So, and then we go to, okay, Americans for Truth. What do you have to say about all of these demands that America should apologize for its crimes against Latin American Japanese and should spend money and give reparations and should feel bad that you as an American, should you be ashamed of what your government did to Japanese Americans by interning Japanese Americans in camps and then kidnapping Latin American Japanese across Latin America? Should America apologize for what it did? And so Kim Chon-soo is the first person in that group. So Kim Chon-soo, what do you have to say?
The arrest of the Japanese was only to protect United States. The United States was at war, and Japanese, they couldn't speak English, and it was too easy to cross border at that time. So if they didn't arrest them, they would be a spy. So.
So it was wartime. And of course, we can look back and and say, oh, it was this terrible tragedy. Look at those bad things the American government did, and it might sound kind of funny and silly to be worried about spies, but this is the beginning of the war. I mean, we're talking now in 2021. It's over 70 years since the war ended, right? Almost 70 years since the war ended. And of course, America won. America won the war. Japan never attacked. Japan could never do anything against the United States, West Coast of the United States, California. But people didn't know that in 1941, 1942, 1943. We didn't know how the war was going to turn out. I mean, it's easy to look back and say, how could the Americans really believe that there was a danger of a Japanese invasion of California and Oregon and Washington and that there were spies? I mean, it's easy to laugh at that now or cry about it now. But at the time, as you just pointed out, it was a wartime situation. Nobody knew what the situation was going to turn out, how it was going to turn out immediately after the bombing in Pearl Harbor in December 1941. So let me go now to the American Congressional Investigative Committee. Kang Tong-un, you're a politician. You're always thinking about the next election. You're always thinking about getting reelected. What kind of statement would you like to make before the television cameras and the millions of people that could potentially watch this on the internet? What are your thoughts as an elected official, congressperson who wants to get reelected in the next elections? Do you have a statement? Kang Tong-un? Evidently, Kang Tong-un is being careful about making the statement. How about Park Ji-un? Park Ji-un, let me flip a coin here. Park Ji-un, if it's heads, you're a Democrat congressman. If it's tails, you're a Republican congressman. And it is tails, so you're a Republican congressman. You belong to the party of Donald Trump, Park Ji-un. What are your thoughts about what you're hearing as you're being interviewed by the reporters who are covering this congressional hearing?
It's a part of.
What? Oh, Park Ji-un. We're having trouble hearing you, Park Ji-un. Okay, what about Chang Song-hyun? Chang Song-hyun, what do you have to say? Chang Song-hyun. Heads, you're a Democrat, tails, you're a Republican congressman. And you are a Democratic congressman. So you're the party of the minorities in the United States, you know, like Joe Biden and Barack Obama.
So we received a lot of claims about these inhumane acts during the war times. And we recognize it. And we want to make sure that we're on the right part of history and right this wrong.
Ah, yes, that's so good. Yay. Okay, so let me, to give you some participation credit for this in the short time remaining, and that is, so let me add one and say, should the US government apologize? Apologize for kidnapping Latin American Japanese during the Second World War. And so let me make a general vote, and that will finish at 10 o'clock because I have to go to actually the next classroom. Post result, and it's not anonymous. And so yes, no, neutral, cannot decide, / cannot decide are your three choices, and save. So please vote as to whether or not the US government should apologize for kidnapping Latin American Japanese during the Second World War. And so you have 15 seconds. Okay. And so that's, we've got 12 people, but so a few more people need to vote. Okay, well, time's up. And the class has to end because I have to move to K257 since we're now moving to a hybrid model. So our 2-hour classes are now going to be face-to-face. So when we meet on Monday, we're going to meet in K260 like we did the first class of the semester. We're all going to meet in K260 on Monday next week, okay? But we'll still use Zoom and Cyber Campus. So please bring your laptop computers. So that's it for today. And I will now end the Zoom class. So let me see if I can do that and say bye-bye.